Hello, everyone. My name is Sarup Paul. I am the product manager for knowledge management here at ServiceNow. And today we are going to be talking about what's new in the Jakarta release for knowledge management. So what we plan to cover today is a high-level overview of the product to recap how we position our product in terms of your other processes. We'll talk a little bit also about where we have been through in terms of releases and what features we have added there. And obviously the highlight of the webinar today is the Jakarta features. So we'll go through a few slides talking about those features. We'll do a quick demo of some of those features at a high level, and then we'll open up for questions. And for questions that you might have, you can post it on the community thread. And Lisa, who is coordinating this webinar for us, would read it out to us at the end of the presentation so that we can take some of those questions. So with that, let me get started. So ServiceNow Knowledge Management, as it stands, is an integrated solution that works very closely with your processes that you may already have on ServiceNow. At a high level, there are two personas that are involved. On the left, you have the customer or the employee, and on the right, you have the agents and the technician. And you can see that we talk about customers and employees just to remind ourselves that ServiceNow now provides a customer service management solution through which you can do external support for your organization, so real customers, along with your employees who are your customers within the organization. So on that persona, you have their primary concern is about self-service. So they'll come in and they can use our portals to gain knowledge, or they can get access to our features through the app. And on the right-hand side, the agents and the technicians who are trying to provide service, their primary concern is to get knowledge in the context of what they are trying to do. So it may be a case or an incident that they're trying to solve, or supporting through the Connect chat. And in terms of the processes, the standard process about knowledge, you have the create, review, comment, and rate. And those are the processes that we support, and much more. And at the center of this universe are two artifacts, right? We have the knowledge base, where we have articles that are authored, and it's more of an inside-out form of communication, where articles are created by your service desk folks, and then they are available to your employees. And we also have a component called a social Q&A, in which your end users can ask questions, and they can collaborate amongst themselves, and also which is a way to crowdsource the information. And that's more of a direction where knowledge management is going in general, as to you're trying to crowdsource the information so that your cost for support is going down. That particular feature set is actually going through a major change as well in our application stack. So we have released communities product as well. So next week we are going to cover that in detail in another webinar as to the next evolution of social Q&A. And as I mentioned at the start, this entire process sits on top of our platform, where you can integrate your knowledge management processes with your product, with your workflows, your problem or root cause objects, SLAs, and the regular processes that you support. And that's how we differentiate ourselves, because any other knowledge management solution that you might have to get, you have to integrate with all your processes, and an out-of-the-box solution actually helps towards that in working out of the box with all your processes. In terms of recent releases, so major changes started with Fuji, where we introduced Knowledge Management V3, where we introduced multiple KB, so that you can have different parts of your organization write content and have their own processes, your hierarchical category trees, a much more flexible access control in the form of user criteria, and then we could do configurable workflows per knowledge base. Geneva is where social came in. That's where social Q&A was introduced, and then we also introduced the feature for word import. Helsinki was focused mostly around stability of the application, so we add a lot of configurability to the application, added a few UX tweaks to the homepage, And in Istanbul, we added granularity. So we added something called as contextual search filters, which has been significantly improved. In Jakarta, I'll be talking about that. We added granularity in terms of being able to control your access control using user criteria at the article level. And then we also added synonym support for search. So that has been the journey. And now I'm going to jump into Jakarta. Um, so the first major feature that we added in Jakarta was to enhance the portal experience. We added 3 new pages on service portal and for knowledge base. First, there's a home page, there's a search page, and then there is an article view page. I'll talk a little bit more detail about the search page because there's a lot of innovation that has happened around that. The portal will now display content from multiple KBs. So you can see content not only as you drill down into the KBs but also if the featured content or the most useful content are across all your knowledge bases. We support most of the Knowledge V3 UI features and the configurability and the properties that we used to have on Knowledge V3 UI. Those are still supported. Knowledge V3 UI is still there. This is an additional UI that we have provided on top of that. And this is not enabled out of the box. It's packaged in a plugin called as Knowledge Management Service Portal. So you can enable it at your when you want to do it. And as I was saying, we have a lot of features that we've added to the search results page itself. Again, this is on the service portal. And essentially, the first major feature is the facets. You can have your own set of facets, configure your own set of facets based on any field that you have on the knowledge base article. And you can configure different behaviors. So for example, in this behavior, you see knowledge base is a single select facet or a category is a multi-select facet. We can also do facets in the form of data-based or query-based. So for example, you see last modified here, where it is based upon date ranges. And you can configure your own date ranges. You can create other data-based and query-based facets. Also, what you see here in the on the main panel is the sort options. So we have added an alphabetical sort option out of the box. But not only that, you can create your own sort options as you would like to based on any field that you want. So for example, in the screenshot, I'm showing that we can add rating. In a demo later on, I'll show this on a live system and how you can create your own sort options. Both the filter, the facets as well as sort options can be based upon out-of-the-box fields or custom fields that you may have on your knowledge base article. So the idea being here is that you can configure your self-service experience to what your users are requesting for. Next, a major addition to the publishing processes is article versioning. That has been added as a part of Jakarta as well. The way we have implemented versioning is a version number for an article is incremented with each step of the workflow, and the naming is in the form of major.minor. So major number, which is, for example, 2.1, major number 2 indicates that this has been published 2 times or has been gone through 2 publishing cycles, and the minor indicates the changes that have happened between major cycles. So an article would typically go from 0.1, 0.2. As it gets published, it becomes a 1.0, and then so on and so forth. And we support features like check-in, check-out, recall, and revert. And we save all the major versions. So you can actually go back to those versions. At any point of time, only one version is marked as published so that you can make it searchable and all that. All the logic that we have implemented is in the form of business rules and script includes. So if you have to customize this, you can customize. It's packaged in the form of a knowledge advanced plugin. And this plugin has to be enabled by you. And it's not enabled out of the box. So it's at your own discretion when you start enabling the article versioning feature. The next feature that we added was knowledge subscriptions. The use case here being that instead of just users pulling information from the portal, we can actually use subscription to push information to your users. So we support two types of subscriptions: articles and knowledge bases. So on the knowledge base homepage, you can subscribe to a particular knowledge base, or at an article level, you can subscribe. Both these features are available on the portal UI that we have shipped with Jakarta, the new portal UI, as well as on the platform UI. And once you are subscribed as an end user, you will be notified. So for example, if a new article is created and you have subscribed to the knowledge base in which it was created, then you will get notified in the form of an email. Because now we have version control, let's say you have created an article, person one has created an article, and person two checks it out for making an update, then you will get notified. Also, both the article author and the reviser are notified if a feedback is received on an article, like a comment. You have those capabilities, and this has been developed using an activity subscription model, a net new plugin that has been added as a part of the Jakarta release. And out of the box, we have configured these type of activities. You can potentially create other types of activities that you may want your users to subscribe to. Again, this is packaged in the part of the knowledge management advanced plugin, and it's not enabled by default, so you can choose when you want to enable it. Okay, so the next feature is improvements around contextual search. So what you can see here is that in the contextual search UI, now you have more metadata that has been added. So the knowledge base, the categories, author, last modified date, and rating. You will have some degree of control and configurability into which fields are actually going to show up here, so that it's easier for your agents to actually be able to find the information that they're looking for. Also, the behavior on how articles are attached to the task. And when I say task, contextual search can be enabled on an incident case and other types of objects. So when you attach an article to a task, the default behavior today is to embed an article, but you can also change that behavior to embed a link to that article. So the end user, when they're seeing an update on that task, they can click on that article and then view that article as per their own security privileges. The next feature is dynamic filters on contextual search. So the key idea here is to reduce time required by agents to search knowledge when they are solving an incident or a case. And what it does is that it allows you as an admin to configure few fields that can be associated with the knowledge search. So let's, for example, in this screenshot, you see that, hey, your incident category matches to the knowledge base category. You can create a filter saying that when they matches, return only articles that have that category. And we support a bunch of logical operators in there, so you can do a variety of configurations. But sometimes life is not that simple, or you want to do and more advanced matching. So we also allow a scripted area. And if you do a scripted, so the use cases are like dot walking or multi-field. One of the use cases could be that the user who has created the incident has a particular asset, but the articles are actually tagged to products. So you can dot walk from the asset to the product and find articles related to that product. Another use case could be that the article is associated with a country, and you have users who are associated with a particular city or a state, and you want to find an HR policy that is corresponding to that user who has created the ticket. So you can use that dot walking. Or if you want to do multi-field logic, if another field is something has a particular value, then use two fields to derive the logic. But essentially, the idea here is to reduce the time that agents require to search knowledge. The next thing that we did was around search relevancy. So you may remember that in the Istanbul release, we introduced synonym support, which helps in relating the search terms that are being used by your customers to the actual articles that have been written. In Jakarta, we have added a couple of algorithms. So the first one is called as inverse document frequency, and it's enabled by default. Essentially, what it does is that if there are certain words that are less frequent in your entire knowledge base, and you happen to search for that word along with another word, then it boosts the articles with that infrequent word. So I give the example of, let's say, collision insurance in maybe an auto insurance company. So you may have different types of insurance coverage, but collision may be in a fewer set of words. And the word insurance is probably there 100 times in every policy document that is out there. But when you search for collision insurance, it finds those articles that have collision and then boosts those up much more, and hence we are able to actually give you those results. The next thing that we also did on the algorithm was partial match rule. So if you remember, we support and or, so which means that let's say we have four search terms in the query, then we would look for articles that have all the four. Not, then I'll find article that have any of the four. Obviously, that can lead to relevancy-wise suboptimal results. So we added partial match rule. What it does is that you can define here rules which says that at least so many words should match, or so much percentage of words should match. Thing is like minus 25%, which means in our example, if there were 4 words, at least 3 words need to match before that article is returned in the search result. So these are some of the search relevancy changes we did. There are a few other improvements. So the first one is that the Microsoft Word import feature that we introduced as a part of Geneva release has been significantly improved, and it has been backported. So there is a lot more support for images, tables, indented bullet points, and whatnot. So we have done a lot of changes in that, and we have backported it for. We have included it in Jakarta, but we're backward for Istanbul, in the latest patches. The other major change related to that is the editor. The editor has been upgraded to the TinyMC Enterprise Edition, and this is available from Jakarta and on forward. And it allows you to copy paste images from Microsoft Word or Excel directly into the HTML field. And this is for a use case where you might have drafted, some good content in Word, or maybe a table in Excel, and then you can copy paste that thing into HTML. There is better support for videos in the form of which are of the types Flash or MP4 or WebM videos, and then the table editing component in the editor is also improved. So these are some of the features that have been added. I am now going to jump into a demo of the features, and we'll take up multiple personas as I'm going through this demo.
Hi, I did some moderating, and we have some questions. I was wondering, did you want to answer them before you go into the demo?
Sure. I just want to make sure that we also have time for the demo, but we can take a few questions, please.
Okay, a couple ones is, the first one's asked, uploading videos to the knowledge base needs scripting. Is it resolved in a new version? Also, is there any predefined templates that we can use for adding our text to KB articles?
So uploading
videos.
Okay. Are these, again, these probably will need to take a offline in the form of knowing which type of videos is this? Is it an attachment or a link? Okay. But there have been some improvements in that area, but we have to take it on a case-by-case basis. I cannot give a blanket statement on that as of now.
All right.
As for the templates, yes, We don't have any changes around templates, but that is something that we have on our roadmap to have a better grip around having multiple sections and articles and all. But that's more of a roadmap item, not in Jakarta.
Okay. Next question, social Q&A to communities. If social Q&A is being phased out, then how will we integrate knowledge with communities?
I think we can take that question in the communities webinar that happens next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And are we able to subscribe social Q&A questions in a knowledge base?
Not today, not in Jakarta.
In the editor for creating articles, how do we associate anchors to text in the document without having to go to source code?
No specific support has been added on that, but that's something that we have on our roadmap.
Okay. Is it planned to allow subscriptions to master categories?
Yes,
Okay.
in the roadmap, not in Jakarta.
Okay. Are any of these new features supported in domain separation, multiple KB in service portal, customizing contextual search?
Yes, most of these features are domain separated, and we can work with you specifically on your use cases if there are any gaps.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. I'm guessing there will be another round, rapid fire. All right, let's get into the demo. So the first persona that I'm going to take is that of a knowledge base user and take you through the experience as an end user with the knowledge base portal. I'm logged in as Julie, and she is looking for some information around performance problems that she's having. What she sees here is the new knowledge base homepage, and she can access multiple knowledge bases. And she has the widgets that is familiar in the previous service portal version, featured, most useful, and most viewed. In this case, she's going to search for, let's say, performance issue, and then she lands on the the search results page. What you do see here is that the facets, so she can facet based upon a specific category if she wants to, or a specific knowledge base. In this case, the article is from a specific knowledge base, so it's not going to do much. Or by authors. These are all the out-of-the-box settings that we already have. We have facet level clear options or a clear all option across all facets that she can use. What we also see here is, for example, this particular article, we search for performance, it returned throughput. That's because I had configured a synonym for performance to match to throughput. And she can look at an article like that. Before I jump into the article itself, you can see that we have various forms of sorting options. So sorting by views, newest, or alphabetical, that's all supported. If you came into the knowledge base itself without any search, you could also use it for alphabetically looking at all the articles in the knowledge base and across categories. Some of these facets, if they have a lot of items, they also support filtering within those facets itself. So I could do something like this, where I could, look at a reduced number of items in the facet list, and there is configurability around that, which I'll cover when I go into the admin persona. When I go into an article, Julie can actually look at the article. So we are supporting most of the features that you are used to on the article view page on the platform, which includes all the feedback options, helpful, rating, and comments. You can see all those. We also can see that there are multiple versions of this article, and in this case, she can actually look at, and that there are multiple versions. You can go into each of the individual versions. Again, this is configurable. In this case, Julie's case, I have enabled her to see draft versions as well, but you can see minor versions or major versions. You can look at that in that way. Julie can decide that, oh, this seems like an interesting article and does get updated all the time, so she can subscribe to this article. So you can see that this is confirmed. It's confirmed that she's got subscribed to this. She also has the option to subscribe to entire knowledge bases as well. So she can, for example, in this case, say I want to subscribe to the remote access knowledge base. Since she is subscribed, she can also control what notifications she gets about it. So we don't want to overload her. So there is a notification settings page where she can look at which item she's subscribed to, and from here she can unsubscribe if she wants to. And in this case, also say that, okay, I want to change my notification preferences. So for example, in this case, Julie has decided that she doesn't want to get notified every time an article is revised, but we just did that, so she can actually change that. Even at an article level, you have those configurations available as well. So that's how you are able to navigate through the knowledge base and go through searching, faceting, and then subscribing to content. Now we will switch over to the admin persona for a second, and I'll actually go through the configurability of these pages, specifically the search results page. So what I am doing here is I have logged into the same page as an admin, and I'm going to go into the search results page. So that's for email. I want to show a few things around here. So first of all, let's see the configurability around the facets itself. So I can control click on this and look at the instance options, and this is only available to the admins and SP admin roles. You can, as you can see here, you can pick up any field from the knowledge table and create a knowledge facet out of it. You can change the behavior. So right now you see this is a single select behavior. We can change this to like a multi-select. And then you have some other behavior that you can control. For example, what is the order by field of these? If you want to order by a different field, then you can decide to do that. Right now it's defaulted to order by alphabetical, but you can say order by an order field if you want to, or the maximum length. So there are various things that you could do around this. Let's say I save this, and you will immediately see the change for every user on this being a multi-select now. So you can do multi-select on this. Similarly, you could configure any of these other facets. I want to open up a facet, for example, the view count facet. And these three facets, rating, last modified, view count, are all based upon some queries. So you could look at this, and although I may not have a lot of data, let's say I want a view count facet of, and the topmost one is, let's say 5,000 instead of 500. So there would be a minor few changes in terms of labels, and in terms of the query, I could just change this here and save it. Although I may not have a lot of data around this, you now have the facet behavior changed immediately, right? So those are some of the changes on the facets. On the sort options, I could also go in and change the sort option. So if I don't want, let's say, a particular sort option, I could do that. In this example, I'm going to add a sort option for rating, and I'll show you how it works. Not only can I add a sort option, I can choose the labels, and I can also set the default behavior. So for example, rating, nobody wants rated by ascending. You want to know the highest rated articles. You could create a sort option now, and when I click on this, the default behavior is descending, and you can sort articles by that. This entire widget for the search results itself is also configurable, so you have a bunch of options around that. This should seem familiar to what you have seen before on the knowledge search results page properties, but you have all those configurations, and you also have configuration on what the secondary field would show, right? So if you can decide to add more fields there and what to show, what not to show, you can do all of that changes right from here. So this page by itself is, allows you to do a lot of configurability, and the time to develop or change this is vastly reduced, and then puts the power into the admin persona and not require as much development. So that's the portal UI. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into the agent persona and look at a few things. So the first thing that I'm going to look at is um, the contextual search. So in contextual search, you are seeing here is that you are seeing the new fields in the metadata. So you see the you see the knowledge base, you see the categories, you can actually see the author and all the information that you have here. It's a little bit of a new look and feel in terms of that data. But what I want you to notice here is now you are seeing probably 6 results. We will come back to this later once we have configured the dynamic contextual search and see how we can help John Jason here in terms of filtering these results so that it's easier for him. But before I go any further, let me actually show you article versioning. So I'm going to create an article here, let's say in this environment. So there are a couple of fields here, version and base versions. I'm going to create this as John Jason, but I'll switch over to the admin persona to go through the approvals and all that stuff. So let's say demo version control. So while I'm here, in Istanbul release, we did add user criteria at the article level. So you can enable 2 fields on the article table itself and show can read and cannot read. So you can see the user criteria here. You can add a user criteria if you want to. At this point of time, for this demo, I'm not doing that. But essentially, if you have any role-based security, you can convert them manually to user criteria and then apply them into this. And obviously, with the user criteria, you have much more configurability in terms of other parameters that you want to use to secure your articles, like location or groups and other stuff. So let me go through this quickly. So I submitted that article, so it's demoed. Now, what you will see here is there is a related list. In this case, John decides to publish it. And when you hit publish, what happens is this article is now in review and John cannot update this article. He does have an option to recall it. So in case he wants to make a change, so I'm going to do an update here and you can hit on publish. So as you see, every change as it has gone through in terms of first drafting, then submitting, then recall, all of these are being tracked here. So let me switch over to the admin persona, and just to make my demo a little bit easier, I'm going to go and look at this article. So and go through the entire review process from here. So what we are seeing here is that this article is available for review, and what we'll do here is we'll go ahead and approve this. I could reject it as well, and rejection would create yet another minor version and route it back to JSON, and that will work as well. So I hit approved, and if I reload form, this is now published, right? So this article is now available for publish, and sorry, it's published now, and you have all the information. So it says who did what. Now, if I go back to John's persona yet again and reload this article, you see John now has the ability to check it out, right? So checking out an article, actually what it does, it creates yet another version of this article. Back in the table, if I go and look at John's persona again, there are 2 physical articles in the knowledge base table, and only this one is still available for everybody to use, and this is the one that is getting edited. right now. So I'm just going to do another update here and hit publish. So it's getting tracked. Go back to the admin persona, open this article up, and in this case, I'm going to yet again approve this article. I'm spending a little more time on this because I know there would be some questions questions, and I'm trying to preempt those questions through this demo. So right now, this article is updated. I probably should have shown the compare option, but let me do it now. So I could have done a compare between, let's say, 1.0 2. I can actually compare any two versions at a point of time, and you can look at the various fields that have changed. The text field still shows HTML, but you can see what changed between the two versions, and we felt that that was beneficial to expose this feature. So you can compare that. Now here is something that is interesting. So what has happened here is that two versions of the article has been created, but let's say now I say that, hey, the changes to 1.0 to 2.0 actually messed something up, right? So as a knowledge admin, you have the ability to make this current, right? So you can say that, hey, 1.0, I want to make this the current version. And as you can see here, various pages, if you're not viewing the current article, it gives you all the information and you can actually navigate to that. But we also support making this current. And when you do that, it creates a 2.01. So we always keep the linearity in terms of the article version number, but it also tells that this is based on version 1.0. So those are the high level features that we have added in version control. And we believe this is going to be very useful for you guys. So, okay, so let me next talk about a few other areas that we have added. So let's talk about the contextual search. So the first thing that I want to talk about in contextual search here is that the behavior for attaching an article to an task, you can configure this like embedding a link or embedding an article. So you can configure that. By default, it is still embed an article. So the default behavior is not changed, but you have that configurability. Then you also see this filter configuration. So this is where you can do that dynamic filtering. So here we have done a filter configuration for knowledge. Let's just leave on this for now. And this is where I have created a filter which matches knowledge based upon the case, and case is the task in this particular demo set. So I have pre-created a particular filter here, and this is what is saying that match the product field in case to the related product field in knowledge, right? So if I now enable this, and let's say hit update, I will go back to John's persona, which was the agent, and go back to the case. And if I open up knowledge search results now, what you see here is there are only two search results returned. And it's not, and that's because the product is being matched, and these two articles have this product in the metadata for those articles. So they have been tagged to that. It's not based upon the title, believe me, but that's just coincidental in this case. But if you look at these articles, they will be having matched to these. So this is a simple scripting example, but you obviously have the capability to add more complexity to this mapping. So if you wanted to do, let's say, a scripted filter, you would have an availability to create your own encoded query here, and then that gets passed to knowledge based upon various fields. So that's that. And then the one more thing that I'll cover here. Yeah, so this is where I'm looking at the knowledge base tables text index configuration. So this is where you can see that with the ability to enable IDF score, and there is some documentation around it if you want to read on this, and the partial match rule. So you look at these, and those are already part of it. So search by default is much more improved because of these two algorithms. Last thing that I would want to cover is, let me go back to John's persona, and I'll talk about the editor itself. So, so what I'm going to do here is, okay, let me start with the import. So I'm going to import an article, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a Word article. I'll let you know this is the Word article that I'm going to pick up. And as you can see, there is, a lot of permutations and combinations of text formatting, tables, images, indentations, colored text, highlighting, all of that involved in this. So I'm going to pick this article up, and let's see if I can. Pick up access and just import this article. So now you see that article that we just imported is that Word document that I imported is now brought in, and all those combinations in terms of formatting is now supported. So this is the improved Word import capability, and this is backported to Istanbul, Helsinki, and Geneva. The editor itself, so let's create another article here. And this time what I'm going to do is, let's see, let me pick up, let's say, a template from Word. I'm going to pick this up here. Let's do it from Word. So now there is a check here. You can say keep formatting, and you see this information is being brought over, right? So if I save it, and let's hit submit. So that article that we created, just copy pasted, that can be brought over. We can also try copying tables from Excel. So let's say obviously these are very simple examples that I'm trying to show here, but you can try much more complex examples as well. So let's say in this case, if I want to I could bring that table over as well with highlighting and everything. So if I hit publish yet again, I can look at that information. So those are some of the features that we have added in Jakarta. And we are continuing the innovation pace, and we'll also, pretty soon be talking about Kingston as well. So looking forward to your feedback on what we have done in Jakarta, and looking forward to sharing all the new features we have planned for Kingston in subsequent sessions. Open for questions.
Okay, let's see. I think you may have answered this question, but I might have missed it. Article versioning, is there a way to compare two article versions to see the difference? And I think you said yes.
Yes.
Okay. For versioning, does versioning also apply to attachments to the KB article?
Yes, between major versions. So you can 1.0 to 2.0, and you'll be able to have different attachments between those two. But within the minor versions, so let's say you updating going from 1.0 to 1. No, you have updated to 1.1 and attach something, and then you change it to 1.2 to the workflow. That you cannot have two different attachments. But between two major versions, yes, you can.
Okay. Do user criteria sets on article override the ones set up on knowledge base that the article belongs to if there's a conflict? or is it the other way around, which takes priority?
So the article level user criteria takes priority if the article in general would have been accessible without the article level user criteria. So let me talk about that. The use case that we support is the access control is more open at the KB level and more secure at the article level. So you can say all articles in this knowledge base is available to every employee, but you can have an article, a specific article, which you say is only available to the service desk. You cannot have the entire knowledge base available only to the service desk and open up one article to the public. It doesn't work that way. It's the open to more secure route.
Okay, let's see. I think you answered that one earlier. Let's see. Nesting of knowledge bases within knowledge bases, or are any of these new features? Improvements to import feature, for example, does not pull tables correctly. I think you demoed that.
Sorry, before we go past that, so
Okay.
we are not supporting nesting of knowledge bases within knowledge bases. That is not supported and currently not on the roadmap, but I would be happy to connect with you individually on what that use case is.
Okay. Ability to create notifications or tasks when a review date is reached.
In the roadmap, currently we don't have that.
Okay. Ability to subscribe to knowledge articles for notification when updates are made.
Yeah, that is the core feature of subscriptions. Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to go through these. I apologize to our watchers. Let's see if I've missed one here. Be able to add an MP4 video to an article just like I can add an image. I think you said yes. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. In contextual search, the embedded article linked to incident, which KB article or article version is linked? Example, 6 months, they give an example. I can read the example if you'd like.
I'll preempt it. So when you attach an article to an incident, it remembers the version that it has been attached to, right? So if an article has been updated since the last time it has been attached, then it is that's a different version. So you can still be, if I open up that incident, you will be still looking at the 1.0 version of that article, and because that is what was attached to it. And obviously, when you're looking at it in the UI, you have indicators to say that this is not the latest version, and you can navigate from that. But we retain the version that is attached.
Okay. Let's see. I think we use the immediate publish workflow to do 2 review post-publish. Number 1, a content review to validate the correctness of the content is done by the other SMEs. 2, once the content review is complete, then the KM team gets it to review and update for spelling, grammar, and such. Will the review, approve, reject process work in that workflow?
Is it post? If it is post publish, there might be some challenges. But if it is before the publish, it will work just fine. And if it is post publish, you will have to do some customizations to make version control work that way, right?
Okay. I think that's all we've got for questions. If I've missed anything, we'll come back to the community and answer them. And we look forward to your community's review that's new in Jakarta next week.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for the participation.
Bye.
Bye.